Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today, purely because I wanted to spend some more time with DC Comics, I prepared a quick list video for all of you that I'm calling 5 Essential DC Comics Reads. In their long and illustrious catalog of titles, honestly, this list could have gone on forever and ever, but I had fun going through my collection and picking a few odds and ends that I really just wanted to showcase for the sake of this video. And while I can't wait to talk about them today, I do want to shout out, as always, our channel sponsor, Panelbound Comics. If you're looking to pick up your own comic book collected editions, I highly encourage you to check out their website. You can find a link to them in the video's description, and if you see anything site-wide you like, you can actually use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a fantastic way to support this channel. Thank you so much for considering. Now let's get started with today's DC Comics list. First up today, in no particular order, we have Crisis on Infinite Earths by Marv Wolfman and George Pérez. I will say that I have not spoken about this event book enough on this channel. This is the first massive Crisis event ever happening in the DC universe, and for my money, still one of the most important. From memory, this series, or this event, really served to kind of consolidate the vast DC multiverse, or kind of continuity issues, into a more streamlined singular universe, if I'm not mistaken. This is their way of addressing things that were retconned, or the fact that, Batman and Superman premiered back in the, 30s, and now they also kind of relaunched, or they're still the same age, in the 60s, 70s, 80s. How do you explain all of that? Well, the multiverse was a really nice and elegant way to do that in many respects. This book also had some shifts in the DC character roster. We had some very notable character deaths in this series, for example. I'm not going to go into that because I don't really want to delve into spoiler territory. On its face, this is essentially not only a gigantic kind of DC Universe-wide event, but it also is just a really fun showcasing of some of their most popular and just supporting casts of characters. The story evolves a kind of existential threat to reality. We have a new figure known as the Monitor and the opposing evil antagonistic force known as the Anti-Monitor, and they're kind of vying for the future of existence and reality within this literary universe. We have a band of heroes coming together to do what they can to fight for the side of right and for existence in general, and trying to stave off complete annihilation. How that all unfolds, though, I'll leave up to you, especially if you've never read Crisis on Infinite Earths. Notably as well, this book did get a sequel of sorts in the form of Infinite Crisis, which is my personal favorite DC Comics event. I know I have showcased that book a number of times. I've, done a review for the Omnibus, for example. But for this list, I wanted to go back to the event that started it all. I do think that this is a cornerstone and kind of milestone in general moment for DC Comics, and when I think about essential DC Comics reads, well, frankly, Crisis on Infinite Earths fits the bill. Again, this is just a fun one that I haven't talked about enough on the channel. If you are curious for more details, or you'd like to see me review this series, let me know in the comments. I'll see what I can do to accommodate. Next up is a book that I just absolutely love as well. This is Batman by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, the Omnibus. This omnibus collects Batman Haunted Night, Batman The Long Halloween, its sequel Batman Dark Victory, and Catwoman When in Rome. Now for me, all of these titles are fantastic, and the fact that you get all of it in this single volume is a real treat, but even if it were for Batman The Long Halloween alone, this would definitely make my list of essential DC Comics reading. I think in many respects, The Long Halloween is one of the best singular Batman stories I've ever had the pleasure of reading. If you've never read it, it is a big, sprawling murder mystery where the Gotham City Police Department, along with Batman, are trying to find a serial killer who is murdering people on calendar holidays throughout a very grim year. We have a lot of twists and turns here. It's a classic whodunit in Batman style. We have a really cool showcasing of the Rogues Gallery for Batman here. So many of his most notable villains are here, and I just think it's brilliant. Stylized with the incredible artwork from from Tim Sale, it's just a real blast. The fact that, again, you have that and then its direct sequel, Dark Victory, which in itself is another kind of murder mystery and serves as a kind of backdoor origin for Robin the Boy Wonder. It's just wow. And Catwoman When in Rome, it's basically set within the Long Halloween universe, but it follows, you guessed it, Catwoman. Starting the collection, though, we do have Batman Haunted Night, which is a collection of Halloween-based extra-long one-shots that feel almost like an anthology. It's festive, it's interesting, it's engaging, and I just think that this, in its totality, is just one of the best examples of what Batman can be. The stylized art, the whodunit, the detective aspects, the, amazing colorful costumes, it's all here. Again, one of my personal favorite Batman stories and a quick go-to recommendation for an essential DC Comics read. Now, I have reviewed both this omnibus and some of the titles individually on the channel. I think I individually did Long Halloween and Dark Victory earlier on before I upgraded to this omnibus. I will try to tag some of those videos in case you'd like full coverage on my thoughts on this work. But yeah, absolutely a great work here. When I was going through this list and going through my collection, thinking about which Batman book I wanted showcased for today's video, I thought that this would just be the way to go. Honestly, love Batman The Long Halloween, love the rest of the work here from Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, a must get recommendation from me. And hey, while I have your attention, if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see other comic book based list videos, reviews, unboxings, and more, and you've yet to subscribe to the channel, I would just like to invite you to do so. I'm always doing things like that, and I have some more new stuff planned going forward. Anyway, thank you for considering. Now let's keep this DC Comics list right on going. Okay, next up on our DC Essential list, we're going to be talking about Kingdom Come by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Now, this is another title that is sadly underserved on my channel. I don't think I've done a full review of this one either, although I have had it on a list video or two over the years. But this is a self-contained kind of mini-series, I guess we'd say, that I think might be outside of the main continuity, but it takes place in a future vision of the DC Comics universe, and it's a bit bleak to say the least. Visiting in on old friends and heroes at this stage in life is just a really fascinating journey. Mark Waid, for me, is one of those comic book writers, similar to Jeph Johns, I'd also put in this category for me, where pretty much everything I've read from this creator I have liked, if not loved. Mark Waid really doesn't miss for me, and this is certainly true here with Kingdom Come. The fact that you pair this great writer with the incredible Alex Ross, who is just a titan in this industry with his kind of photorealistic looking painted style, it's just unbelievable. I would definitely recommend this for fans of the DC Comics universe or the stable of characters in general, but also if you're a fan of that subgenre of fiction, the kind of dystopian future, I think that this could really be up your alley. There is something just kind of surreal and dreamy about this work as well that I can't quite put my finger on to articulate, but I did love the journey. I think the way they portrayed Superman in particular was really evocative and something that has stayed with me over the years. Similarly, what they've done with The Flash, which again, I don't want to spoil too much here for the sake of this list video, but yeah, suffice it to say, very creative, very engaging, and something that has just withstood the test of time, at least for this reader. I know that this was one of the earlier miniseries I read as I was getting into comics, and over the years, I still think about it often. I know they have had subsequent work that was set within the Kingdom Come timeline or universe, but you can absolutely read this as a standalone. Why I put it on the Essentials list is I thought it really brought together some of the industry's best creative talent. It brought together some of the most iconic DC characters, and it just told a really engaging, self-contained story. While it might not even be in the main continuity, I would consider this essential reading because I think that this really does help to elevate the medium. This is absolutely a work of art and something I think just about every DC fan should be able to check out for themselves given the opportunity. Don't miss out on DC's Kingdom Come. Next on the list today, we're going to be talking about Nightwing. Yes, we're talking Dick Grayson, the once boy wonder Robin, now having his own mantle as a hero in his own right, Nightwing. So today, of course, we have Nightwing, A Night in Blüdhaven, Compendium Volume 1 from DC Comics. This is the first of 2 Compendium editions that are currently released. I think they are slated for another 1 or 2 of these, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is Chuck Dixon's Nightwing, and this for me was a dream release, although I would have hoped to have an oversized omnibus edition maybe someday. Now, this compendium contains the first solo series for Nightwing, along with the first good handful of his solo self-titled ongoing series, and yeah, what can I say about this? This is amazing 90s art. This is really Dick Grayson coming into his own, discovering a new city to protect for himself. It's not Gotham, it's Blüdhaven, and I like that. I really like seeing this character ascend and become something more. He had already kind of taken on the Nightwing identity in the pages of Teen Titans, but it wasn't until the solo work we have contained in here that he really got his own standing, and I really like to see what they did here. Why I would consider this essential is because I think that Dick Grayson is one of the best legacy comic book characters of all time, full stop. And that legacy solo stuff really starts here. And I think the fact that this can stand on its own, you don't need to like Batman, you don't need to know much about Batman to enjoy this title and everything that Nightwing brings to the table. I think it's just a real triumph and success story of what legacy characters can be. I mean, from here we have another couple great runs. I know recently Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo also elevated this character again, brought in a huge new audience for this character. But going back and reading the Dixon era, honestly, this work is still so fresh and engaging and interesting, and I'm so happy DC brought this back into print. Now, I would consider this an essential read because I would make an argument that Dick Grayson is one of the most important characters in the DC universe. Like I said, he's not only a legacy character that has, of course, deep ties to Batman, but also Superman in his way. Leader of the Teen Titans and so much more. I think that Dick Grayson and Nightwing in general is just a cornerstone character. I could, of course, be wrong about that. Again, it's just my opinion, but I would consider this kind of an essential read, if not certainly an essential character. And not for nothing, these compendium editions are still really nice here from DC. The spine's holding up good, and while I would love an oversized hardcover omnibus edition someday for this run, I am still happy we get these gigantic releases covering so much of the territory in this run. And last, but certainly not least, to round out our list today of essential DC Comics reads, I'm actually going to do my most contemporary choice. This is Superman Up in the Sky by Tom King and Andy Kubert. Now, this might just be because it's really fresh on my mind. I recently read and reviewed it after I received this copy from my good friend Jake over at The Brave and the Boys, but this to me is an essential Superman read. Like Nightwing, like Batman, I wanted to pick a couple of my favorite core characters that I wanted represented on the list today, and this is definitely among them. One of the most iconic comic book characters of all time, Superman himself, and how was I going to represent Big Blue for this list? There are so many ways I could have gone, like the John Byrne era of Superman, or some of the other amazing Superman origin retellings we've had for Superman over the years, Superman for All Seasons, or Birthright, or Secret Origin, to name a few. But when I was thinking about it, this title popped into my head, and I wanted to showcase it, because even though it's a modern read, and I know that not everyone maybe loves it, I think that it's one of the best distillations of why this character works, why he has such a big heart, and why we should care as an audience. Superman Up in the Sky, if you don't know, is a story that chronicles this saga Superman does and goes on to basically rescue one girl, one stranger he doesn't even know who's been kidnapped across the stars. He opts to basically leave everything and go try to save this one girl. It's moving, it's deeply thoughtful, and I just can't stop, thinking about it. The art from Andy Kubert as well is absolutely gorgeous from page 1 all the way through the end, and yeah, I just can't speak highly enough about it. It is only a couple short issues, but within that we have all of these interesting vignettes or stories that basically chronicle the sort of labors of Superman, kind of akin to the labors of Hercules or whatever, but it's all of these things, these trials that he endures to try to save this one girl, and all that he's willing to forsake for the sake of saving her. And what it reveals about the character of Superman, I haven't seen a lot of other works that have tackled it in such a clear way. This is a book I can absolutely see revisiting over time, and one that has already left a really big impression on me. I do have the standard size hardcover here, but they just recently released a deluxe edition that is oversized for those interested as well. If you haven't read it yet, I do consider it an essential read and certainly an essential Superman comic. Don't miss out on Superman Up in the Sky. Okay, and just like that, we're going to begin to wrap up 5 essential DC Comics reads. Obviously, with a prompt this evocative, there are so many ways you can answer the question of what is an essential DC comic. I know things like The Dark Knight Returns could have graced this list if we're going to include things like Watchmen and Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, and again, the list could go on and on and on. Why I picked these, again, I was looking through my collection and I was just trying to find things that really punched out at me that I think every DC fan should have a chance to read. What was on your list though? I'd love to know that in the comment section. What were my glaring omissions? What do you think about my choices? Have you read any of these titles? Let me know all of that and more. I think that this could be a really rich environment to have some fun discussions and recommendations of some of our favorite DC books, and who knows, you might find one of your new favorites in the comments section. Thank you so much for everyone who wants to participate in that, and for all of you who have taken this journey right along with me. Until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to give this video a like, those comments we talked about, and maybe share it with a friend. Thanks all, bye.